It is extremely difficult to imagine playing a video game like Dwarf Fortress without encountering dozens and dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of beards. Beards with braids, beards are in waves, beards that are poorly combed, and beards that are neatly combed. Children with beards, adult with beards, and even in some people's playthroughs, women with beards. So, my question that I'm going to seek some answers for in this video is, how important is the beard to the dwarf? And how does the dwarf benefit from having the beard? I know for some people it is the main theory on how dwarves fish, but that still doesn't fully explain how the lady dwarves in my playthroughs who don't have beards fish. But there will be hopefully some questions answered about beards in this video, and you will probably also leave this video with many more questions about beards and dwarves in general. But before we dive in, I do want to clarify that many creatures in the game, even humans, have a group of tissues, which are together known as a beard. The most common type of beard the player will encounter is a dwarf beard. The Dwarven word for beard is durad. The Elven word for beard it is eslum. Goblin calls them exuben gisp, and a human calls it a resmi. A dwarven beard consists of both cheek and whiskers, and his chin whiskers, and it is specific to males. The code to enable female beards is in creaturestandard.txt if you would like to change it. It is commented out by default, but it is quite easy to edit, and can be found in the game's files. The game keeps track of a hidden length of attribute for each tissue. At birth, a male baby dwarf has a beard the length of 0, and after that they gain 1 length every day until they have a 1000 length. The beard does not affect anything other than the description as of yet, but interestingly enough, different dwarven civilizations tend to have different cultural hairstyles, including beard styles. Although most creatures have both of these tissues, they have no such appearance as a beard. This leads many players to believing that elves have beards, which is incorrect. All elves are smooth-faced and incapable of growing beards like myself. Well, I do grow like this kind of awfully nubbly stubble, but like it never really fills out into a beard and has patches and went gray when I was 15, so I've just never bothered. I mean, come on. But as we delve into the serious topic of beards, it's very important to discuss their characteristics. Dwarven hair is extremely hardy, and the average dwarf hair is many times longer and several times thicker than the average human hair. I'm imagining ramen noodles, I don't know about you. The range of colors is quite large. Common colors include dark blues, black, and any number of shades of gray. 50 of them, in fact, and silver, white, brown, and copper rust, and even flaming orange red, so that they stand out and glow in the dark. Because they are grown to such incredible lengths and thicknesses, dwarven beards act as an extra layer of defense against external dangers. The resiliency of the beard helps protect the dwarf's face from physical blows. The expansiveness of the beard helps protect the dwarf's face and upper body against sources of radiation. And in its normal state, the beard almost completely covers the nasal passages and mouth, acting as a sort of a natural gas mask, which keeps the noxious gases and other airborne contaminants from being inhaled. Also, each hair is coated in unique oils that give the ability to attract and trap some germs and bacteria, which are often scrubbed out in a bath, or, more commonly, immersed in strong alcohol from the inevitable poorly aimed quaff. Now it's time to discuss the importance of the beard, as it is also a sensory organ for the dwarves. The remarkably thick layers of the male dwarf's beard are a marvel of biology. Each hair consists of millions of sensory receptors of incredible diversity, including but not limited to their hairs that gauge the humidity and airflow. Hairs that are highly sensitive to the presence of alcohol, and air presence sensing a fun decision. Hairs that are hooked directly to the brain's pleasure center and chemically reward dwarves for digging deeper. And even hairs that produce more and more vitamin D the longer the dwarf spends underground, to the point where any solar contact results in an overload of vitamins and immediate nausea. The only sense that dwarven beards lack are heat sensories. Dwarves also use their beards to procreate. Female dwarves use their long, luxurious knuckle hairs for the same purpose. And I don't want to think about that one very hard. The final thing that we need to discuss about beards is that they are actually a symbiotic organism. In actuality, dwarves are not singular creatures such as humans, but colonial organisms consisting of a single humanoid body, referred to as dwarf for simplicity's sake here, and a colony of beard strands. Dwarves and beards have formed a symbiotic relationship over the years, to the point where neither is capable of survival without the other, similar to a Portuguese man-o'-war. Strangely enough, the higher intellect and agency and decision-making of the colony is not handled by the humanoid part, but by a hive mind, residing in the beard, which goes a long way towards explaining why the dwarf's humanoid brain must be sloshed with alcohol in order to put the colony into good working order, i.e., with the beard at the helm. While each individual beard strand is very small, much like a cloud computing, together they are able to form complex thoughts because they are each rather simple. They tend to get aligned on the same thought at once, leading the dwarf to deciding getting a troll fur sock at all costs is the only thing worth doing right now, and the body is essentially a sack of meat used to move the beard from place to place. Dwarven beard strands have been observed to attempt to bond with humans due to similar body structure, but such symbiosis is always short-lived for the human. Dwarven ghosts are actually the remaining beard strands when the body segment dies, and their strands, similar to muscle memory, assume the shape of the body once inhabited and attempt to carry out their routines. Due to them just being thin strands in a humanoid shape, they appear gossamer and ethereal to onlookers, and objects pass through them by slipping past the strands. This also explains why ghosts die of old age. It takes a while, but eventually the strands exhaust their nutrient supply and being unable to draw from the dead host. The whole symbiotic organism dwarven beards discussion is a very strange one for me. I personally don't fully subscribe to this theory of dwarven biology. Whatever dwarven philosophers came up with such a outlandish theory, I personally would like to point at and be like, what? Really? Come on. But it's still an interesting discussion nonetheless. Dwarven science has a long way to go, however. Maybe once we have the powers of magic, we'll truly learn how dwarves and their beards operate in harmony, and whether or not it really is a symbiotic organism. Before we finish up this discussion on dwarven beards, I have some elven commentary on beards. A very old interview with an elf talks about beards. So here's a couple of lines from an elf and a second elf discussing beards. Sir, I have a report from our last attack on the dwarves. Ah, good. Have we wiped them out this time? No, sir. Everyone is dead. However, we did discover something strange. Well, what is it? While examining the mutilated corpse of our kin, our scout noticed that he seemed to be clutching what appears to be some rough strands of hair. I had him bring them back. All right. Let me see them, I suppose. Elf examines the hairs closely for a moment. Oh my god, it's the beards! It's the what, sir? It's the beards! And Elf 2 runs to the highest tree in the forest and screams, it's the beards! Ready the troops tonight. We siege. Not against their fortresses, but against their chins. If you enjoy these nonsensical wiki dives into utter bullshit about a video game that a lot of people really, really enjoy, then check out this YouTube channel because I've got more videos on Dwarf Fortress than you could reasonably watch in a lifetime. My VODs from my Twitch streams, which is where I got the background footage for this video, go up on a second channel called @BlindExtras. There's a link to that in the description of this, and if you would like to support me directly, it's $2 a month on Patreon or becoming a YouTube member to get your name into these credits. And if I see you on Twitch, let me know that you came over from the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.